welcome to Kisma and the Dark Yogi, brought to you by SourceMovement.com. We're here for people who want to be radically authentic and courageously vulnerable. So whether you're a yoga teacher building a tribe or an entrepreneur running a business, we're here to get your energy and mindset positioned for success. No more stress, no more lack of energy. Lead with full potential. Our intention is to leave the world a better place than we found it and inspire you to do the same. So let's have some fun.
Welcome. I really want to welcome everybody to our tribe conversation. These conversations are designed for yogis, yoga teachers, yoga practitioners to really live their best and be a leader. And these are some of the words that have come to Nick and us lately, and it's really fascinating because when we first started Source Movement, it was about that. It was about being a yoga leader, and you know, there was a lot of work to do, a lot of creating, a lot of reaching out. It's just come full circle that the people we've attracted, like each and every one of you, are true leaders. And a leader can be someone that leads a small group. It can be a leader of a family. It can be a leader of a studio. It can be a leader of a really large tribe. But through each and every one of our tribes and our families and our communities, we make a difference in the world. So I'm just really grateful for each and every one of you. Nick, I'm going to go ahead and unmute you. Do you have anything you want to say before I kind of launch into what I thought I would share today?
No, not too much really. I mean, ultimately it's about that. And as the leaders, it's, you know, we're not, you know, telling the way, we're showing the way. And it is definitely a different way of being in who we are, you know, and as a leader, like there comes a lot of different things with that, you know. We won't be liked by everybody. We can't afford to have that be a major concern for us. We're here to share a message. We're here to make a stand for something that really is meaningful in our world. And at the end of the day, if we come and do that, then our work is done, you know, and the chips will fall where they may. But really, like, that's what this is about. And ironically, like, the strength that we build, simply make that stand without worrying what other people are going to say or worrying if we're going to, you know, what we're going to get out of it and all that. The more that we step away from that, the strength that we build from doing that, the more momentum that we build and the more powerful we become. You know, that's when we're able to use our personality to its full effect without making it about our personality, you know, or being anybody other than just who we are. Like, that's when we can really use what we have and be powerful with it. So super excited.
So Nick had mentioned that we might not always be liked. And I don't know if anybody else on the call sort of went like, whoa, because as yogis, we're in a spiritual practice. We're in a practice to serve. And I know that each of us really wants to serve in the best way. Like, we want to make people feel good. We want to make people happy. We want to help them do all that. But the leader leads the way and allows for the revelations and the transformations to unfold. And really what's most powerful is when our students or our tribe members start to realize it through their own introspection. Right, so we can't really do anything to someone in terms of I'm going to make that person happy. We can simply lay down a journey and follow ours and hold the intention that they will see what they're supposed to see and learn what they should. And their journey will unfold as it should as well. And that means, because sometimes we might have to say something that is controversial, or we'll have to take a stand and someone might not like us. And being okay with that is a very, and I'm going to use this word powerful, and let's use it for an enlightened sense of being, because powerful can be the light. Like, whenever I say powerful these days, I'm just thinking, man, someone like standing right in the light. And I'll take you all through a process of being in the light. before the end of the call. But that ability to have the objectivity of seeing a person for who they are and what they're going through and having compassion and just continuing to work on ourselves, because that's really the only person we can work on, will help their growth, whether they're pleased with us or they're not pleased with us. So that's kind of what I thought. Nick, I don't know, did you have anything else you wanted to say about that?
That's awesome. Please continue.
Okay. So you probably saw in the Facebook post, I really wanted to drop a bomb today. And it might be a mini bomb for some of you. I know for me, when I got this, it was a really big bomb. And part of it is because we've been studying the art of manifesting. And I call it an art because every being, every energetic being in full-on spiritual energetic alignment is able to create what they want to create. And that means when we're resonating, when we're operating from the highest frequency and the highest vibration, what we want to create in our life, as long as it's in alignment with our highest, will come to fruition. Now, when we can't manifest as quickly as we want, it's usually because of blockages or paradigms or beliefs, or perhaps because we've all been there. I certainly have. We've made decisions not in alignment with the divine. And that's okay. Like, that is part of our journey as human beings on this planet. But the really special part of our journey as beings on this planet is that we can always seek the absolute and highest frequency of who we are. And the more we move towards that, the easier and more effortless our life will be, and the easier it will be to manifest. And when I say manifest, I'm not just talking about money. I'm talking about how we want to be, who we want in our life, our health, our wellness, whatever that life is. And it might be sitting in an ashram in India. Think about it, manifest it. So the kicker and the bomb for me was a teacher of mine said this statement, and it comes from the understanding that thoughts have a chemical reality. And I'm going to say that again. Thoughts have a chemical reality. When we think it, it is out there in the universe as a chemical reality. Now, it might be on a different plane. You know, we're sort of in the 3D, body, mind, spirit, like we can see and we can feel and we can think. But there are other planes and other strands, and I'm not going to get into all of that now, that maybe one day I will. But our thoughts go out there. And the more charged they are with an emotion, the more powerful the thoughts are. And sadly, oftentimes our thoughts are sent out into the universe with a charge of fear. And when we think about fear, fear is a very, very powerful emotion. And it will put a charge on a thought that will definitely anchor it and start to create a manifestation. And I know this like from my mom. Like, she's such a worrier. I was on the phone with her the other day and she's like worrying about this and that. And finally I said, Mom, you have to stop, because something's going to come true. As you keep thinking about this, something's going to happen. And she was like, like she kind of got it. And I know this because the flip side is, before my mother was an 89-year-old worrier, she constantly was in a thought process of protecting her family. And I got that at some point during my life. I thought, wow, she has, through her own thoughts and manifestation, protected her 4 children and her husband to the best of her ability. And now, because life is coming to an end and she's more conditioned to worry and fretting and anxiety, there's a lot of fear. So to go back to our world, when we have a thought, we have just created a template for manifestation. So think about that. The thought goes out there. There is a template, a system, a process where it can begin to manifest. And that means that we might want it to and we might not want it to. And that was the big hit for me. I thought, wow, how many thoughts am I having a day that I don't want to create this, but they're popping into my head either out of anxiety or fear or whatever. That was really scary to me. especially those where we're thinking, gosh, I hope I don't get sick. I hope I don't get this. And the fear starts to seep in. Guess what we are attracting into our lives? Disease, right? Whereas the positive of, I am a healthy human in alignment human being. I am well. I'm healthy. I am positive. That's going to set a completely different template for manifestation. I know a few people just hopped on, so I'm just going to kind of review that. As we put thoughts out into the world, they create a chemical reality. It might not be in the 3D, it might be in the 4D and the 5D, different planes of existence, but it's out there. The more charged an emotion is attached to that thought, the stronger the ability it has to begin manifesting into our reality in this 3D world. And when we look at certain emotions, and I keep bringing up fear because that is a very strongly charged emotion that can really direct our thoughts into a place where we don't want to be. Judgment, anger. So I'm sharing this because, again, the process that I'll take you through is designed so that we can begin to really, really look at every thought we have and make a choice as to whether it's going to be positive or negative. And it starts with a very simple exercise of getting out of the bed in the morning saying, this is going to be an awesome day. This day is going to be beautiful. It's going to be amazing. I'm going to be focused. I will have energy today. That's a decisive choice of thinking rather than rolling out of bed and going, shit, it's Monday. Can I sleep for another 30 minutes? Like, should I drink some coffee? Like, do I really need to do yoga? Can you even feel the energy around you as I speak that way? It changes, right? Definitely downward draft. Whereas out of bed, drink a glass of really good water, get the fluids going, stretch. Today's going to be awesome. Whatever comes my way, I will really be able to handle it with compassion, love, and positivity. I'm going to do my best. Like I'm even sitting up straighter when I talk like that. So this is energy. And as yogis, we are really in energy. We don't always refer to it. That's kind of what is, I feel, unique with what Nick and I do at Source Movement is we're always bringing energy into the picture. But the ancient teachings of yoga were based on energy. It was spirituality, but it's the same thing. It's frequency. It's vibration. It's what we choose to create. So the more in alignment with the highest frequency we are, the easier it will be to manifest and create what we want to bring into our lives. And I'm going to break for thoughts and questions in a second, but I'll just kind of flash back. If any of you were on the webinar we did last week or 2 weeks ago, I was just kind of floored because there's been these blogs and articles and Facebook posts about how yoga teachers can never make $62,584.52 a year. Like, no way, hands down, can't do it. And many people are correct. Like in the current model of how most people are teaching, they can't. But what happened is, here's this thread on Facebook with people saying, no, there's no way, I can't do it. And many people saying, anybody who does yoga and thinks about money, it's wrong. They have nothing to do with each other. That's not true. Money is energy. On the highest plane, money is made up of what we are all made of. It's all consciousness. It's energy. And money comes from us and it flows from us. And as yogis, as spiritual entities, it is okay to want to make money. It just comes back to the basic teaching, as our guru, Swami Parthasarathy, always says, whatever you have, you own it, it doesn't own you. So there's a big difference between money makes me happy and I'm finding my internal happiness and peace, but hey, I'd really like to have less stress in paying the rent every month. And I'm a good yoga teacher and I have something amazing to offer, so I want to make more money. And let me just share this belief with you. If we look at, if you were on the webinar, you saw this, if we look at the pharmaceutical industry, now I know many of us have been blessed by being treated by amazing physicians. And some of us have been or are on medications. I'm not in any way, shape, or form saying don't take your medicine if you're supposed to be on it. What I am saying is we are healers, and sometimes I think that we forget that about ourselves. If we were paid as the pharmaceutical industries were paid, what do you think this world would be like? If people began to see yoga as really the healing art that it is, and we were reimbursed as we should be for that skill and gift and intention, what would at least this country be like? It'd be a different ballgame. And I'm just saying to all of you, you have the capacity and you have the skill and you have the gift to be as much of a healer as any pharmaceutical company does. We might not have tapped into all of it yet, but we can and we will do our very best. So I'm going to pause for a second because I know it's kind of like, Nick, I'm going to unmute you first. If you have anything you want to add on, I'll open the lines.
No, it's great.
Yourself.
Like it's a mind-blowing concept. Like think about the value of the healing that happens in a yoga class or through, some of the other types of modalities that people use here, energy healing and other things like that. It's like, man, that stuff, it's not the quick fix necessarily that you get from popping a pill, but it's way more powerful and it's truly healing.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can consider the value of that, and really just consider what would be possible in this world and in your own life if you were paid like somebody would pay to pop a pill.
Mm-hmm.
And if they'll do one, they'll do the other because you always have both. You always have flip sides of the coin.
Right.
And all it is a shift in mindset. So it's really pretty cool. And I'm super excited to see what that brings up for people and to just have a conversation about it. Because that abundance is the key part, it's definitely integrated with spirituality and it's a key part of our lives. So let's have a conversation about it.
I love this, and it is my belief that many of the modalities, whether it be yoga, pranic healing, and all these things, will at some point in the near future be considered a medical treatment. So my piece in this, in my 2-year plan in my head, requires, I know that this isn't always the case, but I do believe that some of this is going to require certification. If in the future, so I kind of want to get your thoughts on that, but, I love that there's so many people teaching all of this, but it is going to have to get honed in some way because we're going to still have to work with the medical field. We will. I mean, in the near future, maybe not in the far, but I think just to bring it back to reality that I think that there has to be some certification if we want to be able to treat more people and be recognized in the medical industry as a type of healing modality for illness and for whatever else comes up. Because honestly, I mean, healing, when you get, I mean, I just, spent quite a bit of money for my first session doing path work. And it was amazing, but it isn't recognized. I got more out of one session than I did a year of therapy that I went to 4 years ago.
Tell me what this is when you say path work. Is it like regression?
A little bit, yes. It's a little bit like the holodynamics. And this particular, what we did was a little bit of inner child stuff. Okay. So it's very similar to what we did up north. But this one went a little bit deeper and a little bit further into some of the root cause that I believe, which is why I went to see her, is happening. But just that was it's way to the root. I mean, it's not for everyone. It's definitely not. I mean, it goes deep. It goes way deep than sitting in front of a therapist. But I can sit in front of my therapist and pay a copay of $25.
Right.
So I guess that whole piece of it, really, I think about it because I think, this is definitely something that all of us will at some point be treating as healers. We will be. I mean, not maybe for everyone, but for the people on that path, we will be. So I guess I'm going a step further, but I just would love your thoughts on all of that. Or have you thought about that yet? Because
I definitely have some thoughts on that, but I'll let Tisma go first. No, you go first.
No, I'm going to hear. Well, my thought was going to be, it might, how do I say this? We might never work with the Western medical community. We might never. We might work with some of them, but I would say this. Don't hold the space of it's going to have to go this way. And I know that you're very intuitive and you might see something. But right now there's this launching of so many different modalities, and some have been around for thousands and thousands of years like yoga, and others are popping up like just little spin-offs of other things. So that can be a little bit crazy. I know I had a conversation with somebody yesterday who was looking into a holistic practitioner, and she told me a few things, and I just got a little information. I was like, I'm getting 2 red flags, and here they are, but what do you think? And she's like, exactly. So it does make me a little bit nervous, although I think that it's better than taking a bunch of pills, you know. So the certification, maybe, maybe not. I think that everybody could start a certification. It doesn't mean they're going to be good. I'm a firm believer, like the cream rises to the top. And it goes back to what I said at the beginning. It's like when we are going into full alignment of the highest frequency we can as a being, we'll soar. And we will not play by other people's rules. It'll be like, you can be the trailblazer, Jen. Like, you can just go. But I don't know, that's my feeling, like not to hold too tight to it needing to be a certain way. Nick, I'm going to unmute you. What do you think?
Well, my thoughts on this are, the system as it's set up, like for somebody to sit there and pay $25 to get their healing, right? Like that's a $25 healing.
Yeah.
And so it's,
I love that. Yeah.
It's the whole
totally
mentality behind it is that people are trained to not invest in themselves in a meaningful way.
Oh, I love that. Mm-hmm.
Right? So really what needs to happen is a shift in mindset to be like, yeah, of course I'll pay $5,000 for that healing because it's going to change my whole life in every area of my life. And the way that happens is by people like us being out there selling $5,000 healings.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And really getting powerful results with it. And the medical community will come along or they won't come along, or there'll be people that they want to, you know, and I appreciate the scientific effort behind it to prove what's happening. And that's really cool, but that's going to take years upon years for them to put the stamp of approval on it and say, yeah, hey, by the way, this actually works. Well, no shit. I've been doing it for 10 years now, you know, so it's like I'm not going to wait for anybody to say that what I do works. This freaking works. So I'm just going to go do it. And really, it's on me. This is something I was just talking with somebody about the other day, is that they're like, I get so upset that, yoga isn't valued the way that it should be out in the world, and what do you think about that? And I said, well, honestly speaking, I'm going to take the responsibility for that. And I do take responsibility for that, not for the whole yoga community, but for my piece in not communicating the value properly to the people who are ready to say yes. That is my responsibility. Mm-hmm. And if they don't value it, it's because I haven't properly communicated that. It's because I haven't had the conversation that really needed to happen in order to help that person convert their mindset. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So that's what I feel. That's my thoughts on it.
Jen, first of all, I want to learn more about what you went through, so we'll talk later about that. But Siobhan Moran, Jen's in a course with her, bring it up on the Ignite call. She'll have some really good insight. Great thing to ask her. Okay. Yeah, I love it.
Okay, good. Cool. I love what you guys said. That was great. And I honestly, it's like my heart felt softer when Nick said, I'd rather be proving this or, working and knowing that this all works along rather than worrying about, I would pay more to have somebody heal me that knows what they're doing.
Right.
And you're so much more invested. So that feels really right. I love that. So thanks, you guys.
Love you. You're so welcome.
And think about it this way, for as much as you would pay to have somebody heal you, I'd pay 10 times as much to know how to heal myself.
Yeah.
So that I never have to. So totally. You know what I mean? There's the next level up, and that's really, that's what we do as yogis is put tools in people's hands that they can use. You're tight, you're stiff, your body's not moving well, do some sun salutations.
Right.
And then they know how to do that. It freaking works,
So here's, go ahead, Nick.
No, that's it. I'm good.
Okay, cool. So Jen, I just got one more little piece of information for you. I think, and when Nick said that, it's like whatever we would pay to be healed, you know, he would pay double to know how to heal himself. I want you to really sit with that and look, because for those of you who know Jen, or don't know her, she has a real gift with her hands. Like, it's really, really vibrant, and there's just a whole bunch of gifts boiling up in her. One, that she's a great yoga teacher, and then she has these healing gifts. So start to look at that and think again, and this is where we tie it all back to our thought. It's nobody else's belief or paradigm. It's our own. It's like, and I said this too on the webinar, it's like, if anybody's familiar with a Tesla automobile, they forgot, they didn't even consider how GM is building a car. They don't care. They took all of the modern day technology and they built a car. And they don't have any certification. They're just like, I'm going to freaking do this. And it's awesome. Mm-hmm. So for you, it's like, what is it that you do so well that you just put it all together and you move forward, and one day you might very well have your own certification, which will be of high integrity, and you might be teaching people to do it. Okay. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Definitely. Love it. Thank you.
It. Sure. Okay. Any other thoughts or questions?
And while we're waiting, I have one more thought on that is regarding that. Remember, we asked our teacher one time, I think it was my question actually, is like, you know, a lot of people who are learning some of the things that we're learning, they don't have somebody else to practice with necessarily. So, but we have each other and we're around all the time. And I asked her, I'm like, hey, like, should we be doing this for each other or should we be doing it, you know, just for ourselves, or like, what's the deal? And she was really clear on this. She's like, no, you should really just be working on yourself, because it commands that you take personal responsibility for your healing. And that's a piece that really isn't often communicated. Like, yeah, I can do this stuff for people and it's really powerful. I can teach them yoga. I can teach them, you know, or I can, you know, just give them some yoga things, and I can, you know, do some energy work on them and like whatever, and it's fine. But at the end of the day, like, they don't know how to do it themselves. So yoga, again, like, this is really about putting the tools in people's hands and calling them to a higher level to take responsibility for their own healing. That's why one of the things that I say in class is like, hey, you showed up. Awesome, man. Like, that is amazing, because there's a million other people that didn't show up that aren't taking responsibility for their healing in a powerful way. You're here, and just in you showing up, just in you taking that responsibility opens the door for you to really accelerate your growth and your healing.
Love it.
So that's an important piece.
So the couple things that I always come back to, and I believe I sort of expressed it at the beginning, is we cannot do something to someone. We can only open up their eyes. We can only start to lay the groundwork, the fabric. We can only really start to create our transformation and model it to other people. So coming from this attitude, because let's face it, what really exhausts us, we're talking about thoughts, will be thought. And I'll swing back to that in a second. But when we come to the point of every time I walk in to teach a yoga class, I am simply going to hold the space for possibility. Rather than, okay, I'm going to go to this yoga class, it's going to be perfect. I got to make sure, like, Michelle gets her side bakasana, and so-and-so's going to want a handstand, and it's a he can, like, stop. You know, like, you plan classes beautifully, all of you, and you know what you're going to do. All that is left is walking in and your highest and holding the space for what's possible. There's nothing to do to them or really for them besides that. And then the self-care in terms of the physical and the immediate energy, if I were to look at just the energy bodies right around us, which will be the emotional and the mental, so it's mental, emotional, and then physical stratas, cut the cords. If you haven't seen us do this, if you haven't heard it, I'm just going to go through it now, is through the front of your body, we've got chakras. And if you think about when you're in someone else's energy field And this can be very clearly explained by when someone says something to you that hurts, you take it in the gut. Oh, I felt that in the pit of my gut. Oh, that really hurt me in the gut. And I'm obviously speaking about something negative. The person didn't touch you, but they said something. Well, guess what? That entered your mental energy field, and then it hit your emotional energy field, and you felt it physically. And those kinds of energies stick with us, so they create cords from you to other people. Now, there can be positive cords, like someone said something beautiful in your heart. It's like you can just feel your heart chakra go buzz, and it feels so good. You can't cut the positive. You can't cut the love, because the substratum is that we are all one. We're all interconnected, and it's all a divine, unconditional love. That can never be taken away from each individual. But those energetic fields around us, especially the ones that go the negative, get sticky, and they're cords, and it brings us down. So just imagine in front of your body, and especially in front of your solar plexus, that there's a cord. And then there could be many cords going to many different beings or situations. Take your right hand like a lightsaber or a big like machete, whichever one you want to use, and just cut in front of your body. I like to cut 5 times. Nick usually cuts 3, and it's just cut, 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 and then you take that energy, and the intention is you're throwing it 50 feet into the earth. Now, intention is powerful, and the earth is powerful. So if you're like, boom, I'm throwing it 50 feet into the earth, and then you just cover it with your hand as if you're covering dirt over it, and then we usually clap, because clapping is one of the most basic ways to shift energy. So I want you all to try it morning and night, and I want you to try it when you're in a situation that doesn't feel good with somebody. And they might think you're nuts, but just be like, just kind of like rubbing my my dress, or my top or whatever, and just cut, throw it in the earth, cover it. If you can clap, clap. If you can't, just know your intention is doing the job. You will be shocked. You'll honestly be shocked at how different it is. You're cutting other energetic cords of a negative quality, but you can never cut the love. So, Nick, I'm going to unmute you if you have anything else you want to add there.
Okay, so, I would just say, if everybody didn't do that along with us, just do that. Think of somebody, let's just do it as an exercise. Hey, think of everybody on the phone right now, think of somebody, who's, just got a little agitation around.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody who's been bugging you, something that you've been, kind of mulling around in your mind, kind of rolling around up there. And just think of that person, hold that person really clearly in your thoughts. And then just imagine where that energetic cord might be, and just kind of grab onto that cord and then cut 1, 2, cut. And then throw it, bury it, clap it. And cool, now try to think of that person. You have to work a little harder, generally.
All right, so I'm going to, I'm getting some echo here. I want to take you through a process. It's not anything crazy, and it won't last a long time, but I'd like to end the call after it, because it's just a really sweet space to be. So before I do that, I just want to circle back around. Does anybody have anything they want to share, ask, question? It can be about manifesting thoughts, and it can be about something that happened yesterday while you were driving to work. So I just want to make sure that we serve everybody as needed. Okay, I think it's looking good. All right, so what I'll do is we're going to do this little meditation, which is called the Alliance. And I'd love to hear from you on the Facebook page. So after we go through it, some of you have done this with me before, post on the page what it felt like, what came up for you, or if you have any questions about it, okay, so that we can, again, address any questions and just really serve you in the highest. So unless you're driving and listening, at which point you'll just want to circle back around and do this when you get home, try to find a place you can sit comfortably and you can close your eyes. Even if you're in public, just whatever, just go find a little corner and sit cross-legged and close your eyes. And many of you have accessed your full potential self with us or on your own before, so let's do that first. And the easiest way and the quickest way is to just set the tone by taking a long inhale through the nose and hold it for a few moments And then open the mouth and just be like, let it go. And then we'll do another one. Inhale, hold, open the mouth, exhale. And one more. Just this alone is so grounding. Inhale, hold, exhale, release. And take yourself to your peaceful place. If you've not done this before, it's simply a place that either you know and love, or it's a place in your imagination. For me, it's this place at the Vedanta Academy on top of the roof. I know Nick and Frankie know what that's like. It's just this very special place. Whatever that is, just take yourself there and allow your senses to be integrated so you can hear things, you can smell things, you can feel things, and this is your peaceful place. And just be there for a few moments. And in the full potential self process, once we're in our peaceful place, we invite our full potential self in. And many of you have done this, so just go ahead, and I recommend daily inviting your full potential self in. And this is just you with every single quality you really, really wish to have and to be present with. So for some of us, it's us with more confidence, more joy, more abundance, better health, more energy, whatever it is, there you are. And the beauty is the reason that you can talk about or see or ask for these qualities is because you actually have them. It's just the energy and the beliefs and the paradigms that have mucked it up and sort of covered those over. So focus right into your full potential self. And then we're going to shift into the alliance, which is a place of being present to the present. And as yogis, we hear this be present all the time. We ask our students to be present all the time. But to truly, truly do it is a little bit tricky because there's so many external forces. There's so many conditioned thoughts that can interrupt the present moment. So as I take you through this, it'll just be about noticing. And let's start with, as you're still there, let the breath be normal, your peaceful place, eyes closed. I want you to envision a white light coming down first to your crown chakra and then becoming this tube of light that really encompasses your entire physical, emotional, and mental bodies. So it's you in about 12 inches out. And you can see this light, again, from the crown chakra and kind of taking this cone-like shape. You can imagine that you're sitting on a stage and you're in a spotlight. That light is coming from the highest possible frequency from above and starting to also go through your body. So it's not just around you, it's in you. And it flows through all your chakras, all your cells, all your limbs, your organs. Is a very positive, energetic, healing light. And then bring the tip of the tongue to the roof of the mouth. And as you're focusing on the light around you and inside of you, begin to bring awareness to every single thought. And as you bring awareness to each thought, you'll notice that your thought process will slow down, and try to let each thought be one of positivity. And as more thoughts come in, just notice where one thought took you, because this is where we start to create those templates of manifestation that we're not really wanting to. As a thought comes into our mind and all of a sudden we've taken an 80-degree turn and it's gone from something positive to something negative that we're afraid is going to happen in the non-existent future. So stay present, keep the breath normal, slightly stronger, slower, and notice every single thought. And as you practice this, release any judgment. It's simply an observation of, wow, I had this moment where I was thinking about Sally, who I really love, and then a friend of hers entered, and all of a sudden I was feeling anger because I don't like that person, as opposed to Sally, love. The key here, as Lenny thinks of ARC, is the choice to control our thoughts. Because again, behind, in front of every thought is first an energy, and then the thought, and then the chemical reality that we're putting out into the universe, and then either an action or a manifestation. So think about what our days would be like if we actually slowed down and didn't multitask, but we sat in this umbrella and this beam of healing light and looked at every single thought coming through. Now, obviously, we can't spend our day sitting cross-legged with our eyes closed and imagining a beam. I'd love to do that, but the practice is there, and it's really an amazing use of kicking in the intellect to notice the thoughts. So the practice is there, and if you start and end your day, and maybe even in the middle of the day, just step into it, just be like, I'm going to step into the alliance. And notice, you'll start to see a shift in real time. You'll notice when that first initial innocuous thought came and how it went off into 5,000 different thoughts that did nothing for creating something beautiful in your life. In fact, it turned into a downward spiral. And then you'll start to notice how you'll have a thought and you'll be able to keep it going to the highest frequency and being able to lead with that from one beautiful thought to another. It's a great exercise if you have any sort of physical dis-ease, discomfort, to let that light really melt into that area of your body and ask that place, what's your message for me? What's the energy around that pain in my shoulder or the pain in my back? So feel free to spend as much time here as you want. Utilize this. The light is real. The light is an energy that you're calling upon to come in through your crown chakra and through the rest of your body. It is real. You can use this before you walk into a class. You'll be in an amazing state of focus and positivity that it will be a breeze to teach from. And I don't mean you'll be out in La La Land. I mean you'll be like grounded and present because you're being present to the present. And that's really all we have.